Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final webinar for the All India Schooling Series. Now, first of all, it's a very heartening issue that so many of you have written back and sent back comments, and those words of encouragement are very important. Even if it's about a director or a past international director, all of us need that encouragement. So, thank you very much for those wonderful words. And some of you have posed some queries on them. To the extent possible, we've answered those queries personally. There are some which are generic queries and not related to the webinar specifically. We haven't answered them, but we can talk about them when we meet at the All India School in Delhi. So don't for a minute even think that nobody's reading your communication. We are reading your communication, specifically PID Sangeeta and myself. Both of us are reading your communications. And if we haven't replied, it's only because they don't relate to the webinar topic specifically, but we will be open for discussions when we meet in New Delhi. Now, today's webinar is on LCI grants for districts and multiple districts, and how it's so very important. May I request PID Sangeeta Jatia to just chip in for a few minutes, and then we will hand it over to past District Governor Jayanti Malik for her presentation.
Lions Clubs International provides us some grants which can be used in the districts and multiple districts. And these grants, not very many, but they are a little starting point for you to hold various events in your district. They are for a variety of projects, as you will soon hear. But most importantly, it is you've got to apply for these grants well in time, because if you don't apply for these grants well in time, and if the budget is exhausted, you will not be able to get it. And somebody sometimes feels, why should we apply such a small budget? Only 4 or 5 people will get it. And naturally, out of the 90 odd districts that we have in our area, how many will really apply? You would be surprised that those who apply actually get the grants also, because everybody thinks the same and they don't apply, and that is why the money remains unutilized or underutilized. So I would urge you, think about these grants. There are small support, but they go a long way in helping you administer the district. Now, what are these type of grants? I would request past District Governor Jayanti Malik, our LCIP certified instructor, to please talk about them. Over to you, Jayanti Malik.
Thank you very much, PID Sangeeta ji. A very good evening to PID APG and PID Sangeeta ji. I think you are the only two now present amongst the ID and PIDs. And of course, to all governors-elect and vice governors-elect of India, a very, very warm welcome to the last of the webinar series on the eve of the All India District Governor-elect schooling. Friends, as Sangeeta ji was saying, do you agree that apart from what we can do from our own resources, some extra funds do always help us organizing various programs? Now, shall we explore what opportunities we have from the wide variety of grants made available to us by the LCI? Friends, to do services, we need more hands, and new membership can provide us with those hands. Now let's see what grants LCI has to help us attract more members in our fold. In the next slide, let's see the types of LCI grants available to us. These are the 3 categories. To help membership development, there are 2 types of grants we'll talk about today. To help PR program, to help leadership development skills, to develop leadership development skills of Lions, there are 3 types of grants. So first of all, friends, let's look at the membership development grants. To help Lions clubs bring in new members and increase overall membership satisfaction, membership development grants are available. These funds can support a wide variety of membership efforts and activities, anything from a team building exercise to a club outing. Clubs will need to define how activities will support or increase their membership to be eligible for a grant. Now, how to apply? Membership development grants are outlined by the specific Lions Club seeking the funds and are approved by the Lions Club's International Membership Department. The grants have the ability to cover a wide range of activities and simply require the club to define how they will aid the club's membership efforts. Let's have a look at the top part of the application form on the next slide. And I will show you later on where you can get this application form. Now, friends, let's move to the next slide to see the requirements of the applications. Target marketing initiatives that focus on new areas of opportunity and utilize new marketing techniques are keys to starting new clubs and growing membership. To help regions capture these new markets, particularly where membership has been declining, and to test new marketing strategies, membership development grants are available on a competitive basis. Now, available funds. To ensure global representation, Lions Clubs International has allocated a total of $15,000 to each large constitutional area, that is area 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 per fiscal year. You know that ours is area 6. Districts may apply for up to $5,000 and multiple districts may apply for up to $10,000. Approved grants will provide reimbursement for up to 75% of the approved project expenses as outlined in the rules of audit. If a constitutional area has exhausted its grant funds and funds are available from other areas, applications received at least 45 days prior to the March-April LCI Board of Directors meeting will be considered. Here I would remind you what just PID Sangita ji was saying, that many multiple districts do not apply, many districts do not apply. That is why some constitutional area has unexhausted funds available. Now, applicant requirements. Now, what are these? Grant applications may be submitted by one or more districts that have the ability to reach the chosen target market. The plan should result in the chartering of minimum of 2 Lions clubs or recruitment of 100 new members. If the majority of the targeted market is held in one district, the district governor may apply for the grant. If the targeted market is serviced by more than one district, the application may be awarded to a task force team that represents the participating districts. Each district governor will be asked to nominate a member to the task force and approve the submitted plan. Now, reimbursement criteria. Let's see what that is. Approved expenses will be reimbursed upon the submission of the membership development grant expense claim, and original itemized receipts, provided the required match of 25% is documented. All expenses listed must conform to the association's membership development grant rules of expense reimbursement. That means itemized receipts of 100% expenses, that is 75% from the LCI and the matching 25% from the applicant district, have to be submitted. So that's that for membership development grant. Friends, now we move on to the next. Let's see how else we can attract new membership from all over India and the grant available for such programs. Lions Family and Women Symposium Grant. How to apply for this funding? Let's see. After the major logistics have been determined, you may apply for funding from the Lions Clubs International. There is a maximum of US $2,000 available for each symposium. However, most are approved for between US $500 and US $1,000. The program allows for financial assistance of up to US $4,000 per constitutional area per fiscal year. The funds are available on a first come, first served basis. So it is very important, District Governor elects, that you apply for this grant early. Now let's have a glimpse at the brochure on the next slide. I'll show you where you can get the full brochure. As the emphasis on family-friendly Lions clubs and growing women membership in Lions continues, it is important for clubs to identify relevant service opportunities that will spark the interest of families and women. An excellent avenue for pinpointing these needs is to hold a family and women symposium. A symposium, friends, is a gathering at which there is a free interchange of ideas, or a formal meeting at which several experts deliver short addresses on a topic or related topics for an identified purpose. Now, the purpose of the Lions of the Family and Women Symposium, we can say that it is fourfold. The next slide, please. We can, through a symposium, we can identify new community projects that, projects that are of interest to women, especially to women and families. We can identify potential members. We can promote Lions clubs within the community. We can charter a new Lions club or a club branch to develop the new community project that has been identified. We have to find a group of people to, to develop the new community project that we have identified. So friends, holding a Lions Family and Women Symposium in your area requires careful preparation. The time invested, I assure you, in a well-planned and executed event will surely reap many benefits for Lions clubs and the community. Now, over to our PIDs, PID AP Singh ji and Sangeeta Jatia ji, to handle the question time, please.
Okay, friends, now we will, the way PDG Jayanti Malik has organized is that she is going to have questions in 3 different slots. So we are first talking about the membership grants. So we will take questions on membership grants right now. Then there would be the PR, and then there would be the leadership development grants. So on each segment, there would be questions. You would have opportunity to ask questions. To ask a question, you have to press the button, which is with the hand marking, the hand insignia. That's like raising a hand. We will see it, and then we will unmute you, and you could ask the questions. And we'll allot about 6 to 7 minutes each for each segment to ask questions. The first hand that I see here is Arun Kumar K. Arun Kumar, you are unmuted. You can please ask your question. Hearing none, we move on to the next, which is CK Manoharan Nambiar. CK Manoharan.
Good evening.
Nambiar.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Please go ahead. Ask your question.
Good evening. I would like to know what is the specified time. For example, a governor-elect is taking charge from 1st of July. Suppose if he apply in July, when is he going to get the grant? And suppose if he make a plan of the proposed clubs, whether he will be eligible for the grant or whether he should get the club chartered to get the grant, or whether the member has to be inducted to get the reported to get the grant.
So, PDG Jayanti, would you like to answer? Should we ask Sangeeta Di to answer?
Please, I think Sangeeta Di will be the best person to answer this.
Okay, Sangeeta, will you please take the question?
Yes, you can apply for the grant anytime after 1st of July. You can prepare your grant, and that is what we suggest, that you prepare your papers and you keep it ready, and then you apply for the grant. As far as the membership grant goes, and you're asking whether it would be reimbursable later, I believe you will get the amount, you will get some amount if it is, if you request for it, or you've got to give there are two ways of doing it. One, you give the results, and then, but first you have to apply for the grant. If your grant is approved, then you have to decide, you can have a conversation with the authorities whether you would like half of the grant before that, and the other half would be given after you have chartered your clubs or have promised what you have done. So it could go either way, but chartering the clubs and then submitting a grant request will not work. So you've got to first get the grant approved if you want to use the grants, of course. Is that clear?
It's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. For the next, we are going to ask, give the opportunity to Deepak Suman. Deepak Suman, we have unmuted you. Please go ahead and ask a question. I don't hear a question, so we will move on. And the next hand that I see raised is by Mohan Prabhakaran. Mohan Prabhakaran, please ask your question.
Yeah, good evening. Anyway, half of my doubt has been cleared, cleared by Sangeeta Jatia. However, is there any limit for number of grants applied in a line sticker for a district? Is there any particular limit for different grants?
And yes, you are talking only about membership grants.
For both, for any grant, you will not get more than one grant.
More than
in one Lions year. That is for sure. And also, I can tell you that if your district has got a grant in the last year, most likely that they won't get a grant in the next year. They try to spread the grants because it's not a very large amount of money, so it is limited. But in case by 30th March nobody else will apply, then that opens up to those who are waitlisted also.
I'm now unmuting Nirmalendu Basu. We can see your hand. Nirmalendu Basu, you can ask your question.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Can I get the every charter club grant for the every charter club, and when I can apply, before the charter presentation or after the charter presentation?
I think explained
part of the question was answered, but anyway, Sangeeta ji, if you can explain it again.
Right. You do not get a grant for every club you charter. Let us be very clear. It is for particular reasons why you get the grant. And Jayanti Di also told you about that, which are the reasons that you get the grant for. So it has to be a particular segment that you are targeting. It is not as if you are starting 10 clubs so you can apply for a 10 club grant. No, it doesn't happen that way. You will have to specify what you're doing. You also have to justify why do you need a grant for this. Normally for opening a club, you wouldn't need a grant, right? But suppose you say that this is a very difficult area for me to reach. It is in a far-flung area and I have to travel so much. That is why I need the money. You have to justify why you need the money also. And if it finds merit with the membership committee, then only will you get the grant. It does not mean that if you're planning to start 6 clubs, you can apply for it. No, you must have a reason why you need the money, why it is difficult, why you cannot get it done just by a sponsoring club, and why you need a larger outlay of money. So you've got to specify that. Is that clear?
Thank you for answering that. Thank you. And the next question, I can see Sanjay Avasthi has raised his hand. Sanjay Avasthi, we've unmuted you. You can please ask your question. But since he is not asking a question, I move on to Ronald Gomes. Ronald Gomes, we've unmuted you. You can go ahead and ask your question.
For children. I don't know how to kill them.
I don't hear a question. I think he had pressed the hand by mistake. So And I do not see any other hands. Oh, G.A. Ramesh. I do see a hand now from G.A. Ramesh. G.A. Ramesh, we've unmuted you. Microphone issues. Divesh Sakaria, we've unmuted you. You raised your hand. Would you like to ask a question? None. So with that, I think we can move on. We can move on with the presentation. So back to you, PDG Jayanti Malik, and over to the next.
PID APG, I would just, can I just add something? Nobody asked any question about the Family and Women Symposium program. Because exactly what PID Sangita ji was saying, because it's $500 or $1,000 maximum, nobody is interested. But if anybody is eyeing for a family club, they can go for a symposium, and I think for that it's best that you apply as soon as possible after 1st of July. Am I right?
Absolutely, that's
Now,
fine. Thank you for your
yeah.
advice.
Now, let's have a look at another grant, the public relations grants. Strong programs that make a difference in communities are key to effective public relations activities for Lions clubs. Public relations grants to promote multiple districts of India will be given on a first come, first served basis. Total program budget is US dollar 400,000. That is, full LCI program budget to increase public awareness of Lions Club's activities. The grants are designed to assist multiple or single districts in raising public awareness of Lions and Lions programs. As in India, we do not have any single district. For us, it is for multiple districts only. The Public Relations Division Manager at the Lions Clubs International will review applications and will make final approval. Funding criteria. The program must impact the entire multiple. Extra consideration will be given to programs that will be conducted by a higher percentage of clubs within the multiple. Grants can only be for advertising purposes using either LCI provided materials or LCI approved materials developed locally. Additional conditions. Next slide, please. Multiple districts that received a grant. Actually, the one after this, please. Multiple districts that received a grant in the previous fiscal year are ineligible to apply for a grant until January the 1st of the current fiscal year. Multiple districts that have not fulfilled the reporting requirements of a centennial grant are also ineligible to apply for a grant until reports are received. Multiple districts may apply and may submit only one application in a given fiscal year. Grants up to US dollar 15,000 will be considered with 10% matching funds required. A program chairperson must be appointed at the time of the application, and the joint PR and program committee must be appointed before the first payment is sent from Lions Clubs International. Following selection of grant recipients, half of the grant money will be made available. The second half of the grant money will be provided following submission and acceptance of the required project report. This report must be received by July 15 of the following fiscal year or at the completion of the project. Within 30 days of the completion of the project, the PR and program committee must submit a detailed post-project report to Lions Clubs International Public Relations Division Manager. The report must be signed by the council chairperson and the PR and program committee chairperson. Now, included in that project report shall be results of the program, including the impact on the image of Lions in the multiple district, number of people served and number of clubs participating, detailed accounting of how money was spent, including receipts for expenditures, detailed evaluation of the program. And all funds must be expended by June 30th of the fiscal year in which the grant is given, and any unspent funds must be returned to Lions Clubs International by July 15th of the following fiscal year. You just had a glimpse, friends, of the form you have to apply on before this slide. And if you, before I hand over for the question time, here is a link. If you go there, you can make a note of this. You can go there. You can have all the details of the LCI and also the LCIF grants, and you can find out every detail about each of those. Now over to PID, APG and Sangeeta ji for question time on the PR grant.
So the first person who's this time I'm moving from the reverse. It's not from A to Z, but from Z to A. And we will unmute Vijaya Rekulapalli. You're unmuted. You may ask your question, Vijaya. Hearing no question, we move on. And Sambhunath Agarwal. Sambhunath Agarwal, you may ask your question. Hearing none, we move on. I still see the hand raised by Ronald Gomes. Do you have a question, Ronald? I don't see, there's some audio issue. Prasad Panwalkar. Prasad, we are unmuting you. You can go ahead and ask your question. प्रसाद जी आपको कुछ पूछना है? No question, then we move on. I don't know whether this Mohan Prabhakaran's hand is raised for this time or is the previous one that he has not removed. But Mohan, you're unmuted. No question for the PR grant matter. And Sasidharan Nair has just raised the hand. So Sasidharan Nair, you're unmuted.
Sir, my question is that whether can the district apply for this grant? Because you said it's all multiple district and individual separate district. Can we apply for this?
So Joyantidi, will you reply?
Now, yes, the sub-districts of a multiple districts are not allowed to apply for this PR grant. Only multiple districts, and when there is no multiple, only single district, in that case the district can apply. But in India, we do not have any single districts. So for us, it's the multiple districts only.
I am unmuting now Dhiren Mehta. Dhiren Mehta, please ask your question.
Good evening. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, some 2 years back, Peace Dot program was introduced. Can we arrange a such type of program for our district individually? If multiple
What type of program? What program?
Peace Dot program 2 years back, it was introduced for our district and multiple also. Can we arrange individually for our district if we are interested, if my governor is interested?
I would like PID Sangeeta to answer because I'm not very clear about the question. PID Sangeeta?
Hello. Hello.
PID Sangeeta?
Hello. Sangeeta ji? Hello. Are you able to listen me? Hello.
Yes, I can listen you.
Yes,
can
you please write down in the chat what you are talking about? I also could not understand.
We cannot understand what you are saying, Dhiren bhai. Can you? आप हिंदी में बोलो, no problem.
संगीता जी 2 साल पहले
Yes, sorry,
प्रोग्राम
किरण
अपना
भाई,
डिस्ट्रिक्ट हाँ जी
आप फिर से बोलिए। 2 साल पहले
जो पीस टोच का प्रोग्राम इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था पीआर के लिए सर, पीस टोच, इफ यू रिमेम्बर पीस टोच प्रोग्राम, देयर वाज वन वैन मूविंग थ्रू आउट द डिस्ट्रिक्ट टू डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड क्लब प्रोग्राम.
He's talking about that van which was going
Yeah.
around the country.
Understood.
No,
Yeah.
that was a centennial program and that is already ended. So that was just for the centennial years.
Okay. We have the hand raised now from JP Trivedi. JP Trivedi. But no questions being asked. And Sanjay Avasthi, hand still raised. Sanjay Avasthi, you want to ask a question?
Sir, how can sub-district receive this grant, sir?
You just heard it's a multiple district grant, so you can't receive it at sub-district level.
Okay, sir.
It's a multiple
Thank you,
district
sir.
grant. My friend, it's a multiple district grant. This grant is not available for sub-district. So we don't have any other questions. Sunil Goyal, maybe the last one we'll take here. Sunil Goyal, unmuted you.
Good evening, sir. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please go ahead.
I want to ask a question regarding Women's Symposium. Can I ask?
Okay, no problem. You can ask.
Sir, Women's Symposium, when is there any specified period when it should be organized? Or can it be correlated? Can it be correlated? Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Can it be correlated with New Voices seminar also? This Women's Symposium?
Absolutely, you can. It's the same thing, really.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That was a good, smart question. I think some district can benefit out of that, and that's good. I'm having a recheck just to make sure that there's nobody left. Meanwhile, let me inform you that ID JP Singh is with us on this webinar, and we will invite him to give us his comments towards the end. And so at this point of time, we will move on again with the presentation, and back to you, PDG Jayanti Malik.
Thank you, PIT APG. Very good evening to you, ID JP Singh ji. Now, friends, having talked about membership development grants and the PR grants, let's see what we have for leadership development. Would you agree that for organizing service activities, which are the lifeline of our association, and for taking our organization forward, we need lion leaders? For grooming these leaders, LCI has given us many incentives. Let's see what we have. The Leadership Development Grant Program is available. These are available training grants. The Leadership Development Multiple District and District Grant Program 2019-20 will be launched in July or August, because they are renewing all these programs and a lot of updatings are coming. The application and reimbursement packet are being updated to reflect new changes for this program, recently approved at the April LCI board meeting. The Leadership Development Multiple District and the District Grant Program is specific to the first VDG, second VDG, and zone chairperson training. Now we'll first see what we have at the multiple level, the first VDG and second VDG grants, grants for the training of first VDG and second VDG. The Leadership Development Multiple District Grant Program is for all multiple districts. So it is all multiple district level grants to participate in and to receive up to $100 per confirmed first VDG, and of course not to exceed actual expenses incurred. The MD first VDG or district governor elect curriculum will not be ready until mid-August. So, all the old curriculum has been, it has been updated now. So all the new curriculum will not be available till mid-August. Likewise, the grant of $75 per person per second VDG per person is also there, and that curriculum will not be updated until the second quarter, so that can go up to November or December of the 1920 fiscal year. So when that is ready, an email will be sent to the MDGLT coordinators announcing when the curriculum is updated. So that is the multiple level programs, and not much to do there for the district governor teams. But where you have things to do is the next slide, please. At district level, the Leadership Development District Grant Program is available for all districts to participate in and to receive up to $500 for zone chairperson training. But again, not to exceed actual expenses incurred. This grant amount has increased from previous years. You may recall where districts were eligible for a maximum of $200 for zone chairperson training. The zone chairperson training curriculum will not be ready again till mid-July or early August. An email will go out announcing the updated zone chairperson training has been uploaded on the website. It's not uploaded yet, and it will be in July, August. Now, but they say that if a district holds training before the Leadership Development District Grant Program launches, the GLT district coordinator should save all receipts to submit along with a participant list and sign in sheet from the training. So, if their uploading is delayed and you want to hold it in, say, for example, in July, you can do that, but the district GLT should ensure that the participant list and all participants signing a list attending that training program, it must be kept along with all the receipts, so that when the all the application form is uploaded, the district GLT coordinator can then furnish the application. So that's that for the leadership grant program. Now we move on to the institute grant program. This again is at the multiple level. To better equip and train more future leaders, the institute grant program serves all multiple districts in constitutional areas 1 to 4, 6, 7, and Africa. Funds are available for either the emerging or Regional Alliance Leadership Institute. That means ELLI or RLLI. So it depends on what your multiple district is opting for. So you can either opt for ELLI or RLLI, not both. Now, friends, we probably all know what the benefits are, but still I shall go through it again. What are the benefits of our institutes? Our institute, can we go back to the last slide, please? The benefits of our institute is that it provides training that can be used both professionally and personally. An institute builds confidence for lions in leadership roles. It inspires lions to actively participate in the lions experience. It localizes training, which minimizes travel costs and participants' time. In they are saying that because for all India trainings, say ELLI, you have to move a long way. So a lot of travel costs are there, but if it is within the multiple, the travel costs and time involved are much less. The ELLI curriculum will be available for downloading after approval of the application. RLLI curriculum is provided by the multiple district. Now, to promote it, I have a special request to all the all who are listening today, the DG teams. Please share the details about these programs, which is easy for you. Just download a printable brochure to help your members learn about the program. You know, the more we can spread amongst the lions, the more the lions can take benefit of these institutes. Applications are already available, you know, from the LCI, and we can apply up to August 2019. All multiple districts and coordinator, the GLT coordinators will apply for the RLLI or ELLI. But it is up to the district team, the district governor elect, to choose the participants from your district. Reimbursement. The maximum grant available now is 4,500 only. It used to be more, but it was not available to all multiple districts earlier. It was on a first come first served basis, but now applications will be awarded to 100% of the multiple districts of LCI, and that is why they have lowered the amount so that the benefit can go all over the LCI. So that's about that, friends. Now, again, question time. Over to our PIDs, please.
Okay, we will go back for the questions. And once again, reminding you that if you have a question, you must raise a hand. To raise a hand, you must press on the hand insignia that you see on your screen. We will then be able to see it and offer you the opportunity to ask a question. I see a hand raised by Rima Barua. So I'm unmuting. Rima Barua, will you please ask your question?
Is there any grants for PhD training?
No.
I mean,
No, no.
no, there is no such grant. Rajendra Singh Bagga. I'm unmuting Rajendra Singh Bagga. You can ask your question. Hearing none, we will move on to Prasad Panwalkar. I still see your hand raised. Is it the one that you raised earlier, or is there a question now? Hearing none, I will move on. Prakash Jaina has raised his hand now. Prakash Jaina. Prakash, you just raised your hand. But okay. Go ahead. We've unmuted you. We could not hear him speak. I think it seems that everybody is so clear. C.K. Manoharan Nambiar, do you have a question on this?
No, sir, it is mostly pertaining to the multiple. So there's nothing much.
That's okay, but even the multiple money comes back ultimately to the district so far. So I do not see any other new hands being put up, and there is no issue. There's no point in going back to those hands because some seem to be having those issues with their sound system also. So PID Sangeeta, do you have any inputs about these grants and the utilizations before we move on to the concluding part of the presentation?
I would definitely say that I do understand that some of these grants are for the multiple, but you must also work with your council executives to see that these grants are applied for, because we will also be speaking to the council chairpersons, but it was not bad that you talk to them about especially the PR grants. I would say regional institute and the ELLI, normally our councils have a system and they do apply for it. But the PR grants is something that if the governors, the DG teams would look for it, I think it would help the councils to apply for the same. I am aware that this year, none of our councils, probably just one, has applied for this PR grant. So, it needs, and the grant is going to come to the districts. So it is important that you look into this also. So that is why, don't think it's for the multiple, so it's not for you. Even you could apply for the grant. Besides this, we do have another grant, which is the Leo Leadership Grant. And that goes out, but the details about the Leo Leadership Grant for the next year are not available till now. So we are not sure whether they would be the same but you could watch out and look out for it. The only grant which we know has been discontinued is the Children's Symposium grant. So that has been discontinued, but the others you could wait, look out, maybe you'll hear more as the days pass. So I think that is all that I need to add. Thank you.
Okay.
May I just add something, PID APG, please? Uh,
Please.
in relation to Rima Barua's question that, whether there is a grant for PSG training, it is, the only for the zone chairman training, the grant is there. Although, in our districts, we train the region chairpersons and the district chairpersons, but the grant is allowed for the districts. This one is for district, not for multiple district, but that is for zone chairpersons only. May you please note.
Right, absolutely. And the
Yeah.
other thing I would also like to add is that if you are doing your zone chairperson training in this Lions year, you cannot apply for that grant. This is for the next Lions year only.
Which basically means that if you complete your zone chairperson training within this Lions year and you want to use this grant, you will have to go for a revised and a new training program, maybe with some more additional details, which should be done next year, and actually hold the training program next year to apply for this grant. Okay.
Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
So now, not only leadership development, but also to help finance district leaders. Mind you, this is for the district. In carrying out their duties, LCI has allotted an operating budget for them. Let's find out what these are. The District Global Action Team Operating Budget. Sangeeta ji has referred to it earlier, that although it's not a very big amount, but still it helps. But, in regards to the GAT operating budgets, the current program till 2018-19 for the multiple district and the district GAT coordinators to obtain operating funds will be discontinued in the year 2019-20. Now, districts will be more beneficial because it will be replaced by a district funding program, whereas districts can obtain funding of US $500 for submitting a district or club GAT success story. So that, details we are still awaiting. We are waiting. The LCI is currently finalizing the criteria and submission process, and more information will be available in the coming weeks. So we are waiting for the details of, how they want this GAT success story to be reported. Now, for now, I would request all district governor elects to please submit your district GAT development plan online to LCI. I hope that all of you have already done so. In case you haven't, please submit it online. But before submission, please discuss with your DG team about your goals and plans. Now, friends, having discussed over the last few minutes, please assess whether we have achieved the objectives of this webinar session. Thank you all very much for being with us through this webinar. And for your further queries by emails, I shall always be available to you. And please, you can send your response also to this email ID. Now over to PID APG and PID Sangeeta ji for coordinating the final questions from the participants, please.
Okay, so we move on now to the questions again. And those of you who wish to ask a question, please raise your hand. I see the same hands again, and I'm not sure whether they've been raised in relation to this segment. I see the hand of Ravindra Pathak. Ravindra Pathak ji, we've unmuted you. Puchiye.
Good evening. Sir, my simple question is that usually the zone chairperson's training program is conducted in the month of June, and the grant is available only after July 15th or so.
So what is the question, Pathak sir?
Now, why this ambiguity? How it can be managed? How it can be handled?
Can I answer that, please?
Yes, please. Please go ahead, Jayantini. Please answer.
Actually, we need the training programs in May, June, because that is the preparation time of the district governor elect. But from experience, my friend, I assure you, another training program of the zone chairperson in July or early August, it really helps. So for that, you can get this grant and, get in touch, be in touch with your zone chairpersons and have an overnight training program and really create bonding, which will, I'm sure, help you in your year, will help for success in your year. So it does help, sir.
Okay. I have now unmuted Venudhara Shetty. You had raised your hand. Venudhara Shetty, you can please ask your question now. No question is being asked. So, and now final round. So just to check whether there's any other hand coming up. Otherwise, we will move on to the conclusion of this webinar. Yes, Krishnakant Desai. We've unmuted Krishnakant Desai.
Good evening, sir. For RLLI or ELLI, minimum strength, how much participants are required for RLLI?
What is your question?
How many participants for RLLI?
Oh, I don't think there's a minimum amount. There's a maximum cap per participant. So beyond that, they can have more participants. Sangeeta ji, if you remember that exact amount, I think it's 143 or something.
Absolutely, it was that. I do not know what comes in the new one. So because now they've reduced it to $4,500. So I do not know what is the real.
But can you explain that concept? Please explain that concept.
See, the whole thing is, it is the total amount given to you is $4,500. And it is a maximum of $143 per participants that you can spend. So it's not as if you can have a 10-member training and do it. You require a minimum of probably, it would be at least, how much would it be? 3,500 divided by 4,500 divided by 1.5 probably would be at least 30 participants you would require. 30 participants. A minimum of 30 participants for an RLLI.
Provided
that is a multiple district.
Provided the actual expenses are that amount. If the actual expenses are lower, then the number of participants will go up. That's the
Right. This is the maximum that they give, and as per actual reimbursements.
We see a hand raised by T. Elangovan. T. Elangovan, we've unmuted you. You can ask your question.
Good evening, sir. You are telling that the zone chairperson schooling will be in the after July and August. Normally, all the DG teams we are keeping the schooling in the May month. If how many days is the period of the zone chairperson schooling? 1 day or 2 days?
No, you can have a 1 day. There is nothing called, you don't have to do an overnight training, but please be clear. This is for the next Lions year. Any training that you do in the next Lions year, you can claim money for that, not for this Lions year. And it has to be done in your year only. This is all accounting procedures which LCI has to follow. So we all understand that you are doing your training programs in May and June, which is recommended and which is very good. But you will not get reimbursement for that. As our facilitator told us, it would be very beneficial if you can plan one in August or maybe even in October, November, so that you have kind of a refresher and you can apply for a reimbursement for that. So although you do your trainings, and that is what we would like to see you do also, do the training programs in May and June, but when you do your second one, that is a time when you go for this zone chairperson training reimbursements. Is that clear?
Yeah, I hope you've cleared everything, and we will have occasions to talk when we meet in New Delhi about this. And there are no more questions. No more hands raised. I've looked up and down a couple of times. And so at this point of time, before we start winding up, we are going to unmute ID JP Singh for brief comments and some announcements. ID JP Singh. I think he's got some audio issues somewhere today. He's somewhere near Lucknow or someplace. So I did not hear him. So he has sent some announcements. That's why he sent them to me, perhaps, that in case he cannot speak, we can make this announcement. The announcements are like this, that on the 26th of May, there would be arrival pickups from T1, T2, T3 terminals of the Delhi airport, and that would be handled by some representative on behalf of LCCIA. These representatives will be in the yellow service jackets, and they will be holding the LCI placard. So just look out for them. And my personal advice is, even if you don't see them, don't bother much, because Pullman is just 5 minutes drive or 7 minutes drive from the airport. Participants should register for the schooling and share their travel itinerary. And you are requested to send in your t-shirt size and a copy of your ID proof. This will help the hotel prepare your registration card so that your registration will not take too much time when you arrive at the hotel. The dress code is dark suits on the 27th for men, for women appropriate dress, and ID JP Singh suggests maroon turbans for Sikh gentlemen. On 28th, 29th, smart casuals, and on 29th for the banquet, the thematic dress. Each DG team is required to be in a thematic dress, and the theme is Go Green. Go Green. And the best 10 DG teams will have an opportunity for a ramp walk and some awards as well. On 30th May, once again, smart casuals. There would be a class marked out for Hindi sessions, but only for the DGEs. So those of you who have already specified that you have opted for Hindi sessions is fine. Otherwise, please do that by tomorrow before we close the registrations for the Hindi sessions, because we have to prepare accordingly as to which room which participant would be going. And each DG, please bring 100 pins, your district pins for the next year, for pin exchange. We will help facilitate pin exchange. For every 100 pins that you bring in, you may get back, I think, something like 80 or 85 pins back, because 15 of them get consumed for circulation with some of the other individuals there. So that's what it is. So these were the basic announcements. Any other announcements from you, PID Sangeeta?
No, none. Thank you.
I will try once again with ID JP Singh, if you can hear me. No. Still, he's having an audio issue. So with this, we will conclude this webinar. And thank you very much, Past District Governor Jayanti Malik, for such hard work and such information provided in such a nice manner. And you explained each of the grants so well. Thank you very much. I may now inform the participants that each of these webinars have been recorded. We would send you the links for the recordings in the due course. You could go back and listen to these webinars again if at all you feel there is any part of information that you would like to extract by listening to it all over again. And maybe some of our friends who did not join the webinar can take advantage of it that way too. So once again, thank you very much for joining. Thank you to our presenters, our panelists for all the 3 webinars. They've done a great job. Thank you very much. And thank you, PID Sangeeta ji, for helping to co-host this webinar. With this, we close this webinar and see you in New Delhi soon.
Thank you, PID APG and PID Sangeeta ji, and of course, all participants. Good night.